All right, so when discussing my breeding plans, I keep talking about how I want to screen for health problems, even in health tested dogs, because you never know what can develop. You can have spontaneous mutations develop at any time. And if you're breeding a dog by line breeding, you are fixing traits on that dog, and you're passing all their traits onto their offspring that are much very closely related to them. And so you definitely want to make sure that before you fix traits, that the dogs are aging well. So let's say I produce a puppy that's got everything. For instance, okay, Rihanna, she's got this amazing coat. I want to reproduce that coat, but I also want to make sure that with the genetics that make that coat don't come something else that is really harmful, that is interconnected genetically. You can't separate them. The people who created the Dalmatian didn't know that the large spots that they wanted were closely, related to, they were caused by the same genetic mutation that makes them build up uric acid and develop kidney stones. And so it wasn't until almost all the dogs in the breed had these consistent kidney stone issues that they started to realize there is something going on here. So the person who had this brilliant idea, he crossed a Dalmatian with a German Shepherd, what are they called? Pointy, they're a pointer that's spotted. Anyway, their spots are much smaller. They're not the same large spots. But they found that when they crossed back to eliminate this issue, the dogs that were clear of the uric acid problems also did not have the large spots. So they have determined that those two things are connected, and now they can actually test for them genetically. And then you've got the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. The shape of the head, the way that the base of the skull is too small for the amount of spinal column, and just the mass of the brain itself is squished into a skull that is too small. I don't know how that happened. That's really weird, but this is what happens when people want to develop a breed by line breeding right at the outset. They're like, oh, I love this dog, I love the temperament, whatever, we're going to just clone this dog by line breeding. But if you haven't really done a lot of test litters and let them grow out to see how they're doing, then doing it in a very, you're possibly developing a breed that has health problems genetically built in, okay? So I don't have any issue with line breeding to pass on a certain trait, as long as you're not trying to fix all the traits. So Rihanna's got this amazing coat. I really want to pass this coat on to offspring, but it's possible that I'm going to have to line breed in order to do so. So what I want to do is create a foundation litter that has as close to the coat as possible. In order to do that, I need to cross her with another single coat that has fairly soft fur. And some of the dogs could end up with thin fur, like the stud, or with thick fur, like her, or in between. And I'll select for the ones with thicker fur. And then I will cross those back with her to make sure I get more of the thickness, more of the smoothness, because there's no way I can get that from the stud. And then, so now I'll have a inbred litter that I need to observe how they age, how their temperament develops, because I've just concentrated the